This is John Cantlie. Lend me your ears. Episode 4.
Hello, my name is John Cantlie, the British citizen abandoned by my government and a prisoner of the Islamic State for nearly 2 years.
That's really all we need to hear of that garbage. See, he wrote this article in Dabiq, which I just did 2 videos on, and I wanted to go over this. It's called The Perfect Storm. What started as an explosive movement in Iraq has now suddenly turned into a global phenomenon the West and the democratic world as a whole is ill-equipped to deal with. John can't lie. Notice in no way is the man ever afraid in any of the videos that he's in. And check him out if you haven't seen him. He is a liar and not a hostage. Obama says, "This is a core principle of my presidency. If you threaten America, you will find no safe haven." I'm sure you know the history of the bombings and shit over there well enough. You know they really haven't done shit, so that's probably on purpose. As efficient as the American military is with that sort of thing. Rand Corporation says, as they carve out an area of safe haven, this will be a launching point for attacks on America, the West, and attacks globally. Yeah, the Rand Corporation is a think tank that also helped and create it. Anyway, the pledges of allegiance that are now being announced on a seemingly monthly basis from Islamic groups around the world to the Islamic State are exactly what every mujahid prayed for, and a nightmare scenario for the military and political leaders of the democratic world. The incredible growth of the caliphate and the fact that it is a living, breathing entity with thousands of square miles of territory has given Muslims around the Middle East, Asia, and Africa the belief and confidence to take up arms, pledge their loyalty, and launch operations with a unity of strength of purpose that has simply not been seen before. And they get all those weapons from America, by the way. To go on, what started as the most explosive Islamic group in the modern world has rapidly evolved into the most explosive Islamic movement the modern world has ever seen. Actually, no, that was the early Islam about a little less than 1,500 years ago. But anyway, nothing on this scale has happened this big or this quick before. Huge swaths of Pakistan, Nigeria, Libya, Yemen, and the Sinai Peninsula are all now united under the black flag of Tawhid, gelled together as one by the Islamic State. Mujahideen of Afghan provinces that were the scenes of fierce fighting for over a decade costing America trillions of dollars are now less than 6 months after America withdrew with its tail between its legs, loyal to the caliphate. America didn't withdraw with its tail between its legs. I don't know where he gets that, except he's trying to play a character basically and trying to force a narrative, a false narrative. The Mujahideen of West Africa control much of Nigeria, and their attacks are intensifying, pushing back an exhausted and smashed national army that is now in a virtual state of collapse. They declared allegiance to the caliphate in March, and they are the same group, remember, that Obama claimed last year was being successfully pushed back by American intervention policy. Indeed, he claimed that the same model, cutting finances, recruitment tools, and the will to fight, that worked so well in the degradation of the Mujahideen there before their Pledge of Allegiance, would work just as well as on the Islamic State. He's talking about Boko Haram. And, well, ISIS doesn't really like black people too much, but apparently they're part of ISIS now. Some things just don't work out as planned, excuse me. The energy behind this movement is fearsome. A single lion can kill an antelope, but a pride that is hungry and cunning enough can, if they work close together, take down an African elephant. As groups of mujahideen from around the world join forces, so the strength behind the Islamic State puts them in a position to devour much larger prey. The West and its allies have once again been caught completely by surprise, and now they find themselves fighting not just one enemy in Iraq and Sham, but now an international army of mujahideen numbering hundreds of thousands in different countries while whole continents apart. It's taken the coalition the best part of a year to put together a campaign against the Islamic State that is now only seeing a Shia mob supported by coalition aircraft make moves against Tikrit. But that's old news before it's even begun. Why focus on Tikrit when the Middle East, Africa, and Asia are now on fire? And this movement shows no sign of abating. Indeed, this quickening, this coming together of Islamic groups sharing the same focus and purity of belief is only intensifying. And the more groups that join, the stronger the movement becomes. As the groups evolve from splintered cells, each waging their own wars to single unified body, it becomes a force of immense power, like a snowball that rolls down a mountain getting larger until you end up with an avalanche. The more outfits work together so they can use each other's skills and strength to fill in the gaps until there are very few weak points. Okay. Say one group is very good at bombing, the other group is very good at making propaganda, says Jonah Blank from the U.S. think tank Rand Corporation. If you put the right bomb in the right place for the right propaganda effect, that can be far more important than either of these things on their own. Now, that statement right there is more than just describing ISIS. That's describing what these fuckers do. Rand Corporation and the other think tanks in collusion with the military. To go on, this isn't just propaganda, says Gary Bernstein, a former CIA intelligence officer, on an interview with Fox News on March 9th. ISIS has billions of dollars. They have a network of communications for reaching out to these groups, and it shows you how deadly and effective ISIS is. They are truly the most successful Sunni terrorist group in history because they've carved out a space for a nation-state, and these other groups that recognize that. It shows Obama's statement that this isn't Islam is a false narrative. ISIS has been brilliant at selling itself to the hundreds of millions of people that are looking for a message. No, actually, that's Site Intelligence Group who has been not so brilliant at it. It comes off as brilliant because people don't look deeply into them. They don't watch the whole videos. They see the news reports, you know. ISIS made another propaganda freaking beheading video. Did you watch it? No, I can't watch it. It's all gory and stuff. It's fake gore. CGI. So go on. And what of Obama of late? In all honesty, I haven't seen what the Nobel Peace Prize winner has been commenting on recently, but he can't be having much fun. This strategy of taking out terrorists who threaten us while supporting partners on the front lines is one that we have successfully pursued in Yemen and Somalia for years, he said last September. I do not have any information on the current situation with Somalia, but Yemen is exploding. The Islamic State is already taking advantage of the chaos there, and it is clear nothing has been successfully pursued. The American embassy has been closed for more than 3 months now out of fear terrorists might attack it as the country descends into further chaos. Would you like those words served with relish or pickle, President? Obama cited U.S. policy in Yemen and Somalia as a successful illustration of what's in store for Iraq and Syria. A 1-2 punch of U.S. air power with local ground forces, but Somalia is a failed state, and Yemen is hardly a healthy one. Both remain incubators of dangerous terrorism, wrote the Washington Post in a reply to the president's statement. And that was 8 months ago before large portions of the Muslim world took up arms. Now this next part's funny. And as the Islamic State seizes weapons from the American and Iranian-backed proxies, whom its Mujahideen massacre, it gets hold of tanks, rocket launchers, missile systems, and anti-aircraft systems. Acquiring aircraft would be the logical next step. It's the plot of a political Western horror film. Yeah. Okay, they didn't seize weapons from American-backed proxies, okay? They were given them. They were dropped to them on purpose with the excuse that, oops, we messed up. Bullshit, okay? Not to mention, well, they're not actually killing Americans over there, okay? There's not Americans on the ground at this point fighting them. It's Iraqi soldiers are one of the proxies. What's the name of the Iranian group? The Houthis. But ISIS is the main proxy there. They are the moderate rebels in Syria. They became ISIS, the Free Syrian Army. Acquiring aircraft would be the logical next step is really funny. You also have to be trained to fly those aircraft. It's not something you can just like jump in there and do. Just like with the whole oil field thing. Oh, ISIS took over this oil field and blah, blah, blah. But do they know how to operate it? Do they know how to refine the oil and all that? I would imagine no. I would imagine that's something that requires training. So they're making money off of oil with no training on refining it. Okay, sure. What's happening now is a pooling of skills and experience that poses the greatest danger the West has seen in modern times. When you have that amount of battle-hardened mujahideen all cooperating and exchanging information for the first time under one flag, the potential for operations on a previously unseen level rises exponentially. Let me throw a hypothetical operation onto the table. The Islamic State has billions of dollars in the bank. Which bank, I wonder? Is that not known? Can something not be done about that? Anyway, so they call on their Willia in Pakistan to purchase a nuclear device through weapons dealers with links to corrupt officials in the region. Pakistan's kind of a United States ally there. Why would they sell them a nuke anyway? Who would sell them a fucking nuke? I mean, for fuck's sake. That would be a threat. Would that not be a threat to Pakistan as well? Anyway, the weapon is then transported overland until it makes it to Libya, where the Mujahideen move it into South Nigeria. Drug shipments from Colombia bound for Europe pass through West Africa, so moving other types of contraband from east to west is just as possible. The nuke and accompanying mujahideen arrive on the shorelines of South America and are transported through the porous borders of Central America before arriving in Mexico up to the border with the United States. From there, it's just a quick hop through smuggling tunnels, and hey, presto, they're mingling with another 12 million illegal aliens in America with a nuclear bomb in the trunk of their car. This is the smallest image I found for a nuclear bomb, but what's the likelihood they would actually get that, really? Here's it's a Fat Man nuclear bomb, and apparently it comes in a bunch of slightly similar shapes, but this is a scale. This one would not be able to fit in a trunk. And here's a funny, seemingly random thought. Well, remember Kenji Goto was given a Islamic name before he was allegedly beheaded? Where's John Cantlie's Muslim name, and why isn't he going by it? Why is there no mention of this? Anyway, to go on, perhaps such a scenario is far-fetched, yeah, but it's the sum of all fears for Western intelligence agencies, and it's infinitely more possible today than it was just 1 year ago. Hey, isn't that a title of a Tom Clancy book? And if not a nuke, what about a few thousand tons of ammonium nitrate explosive? That's easy enough to make. The Islamic State make no secret of the fact that they have every intention of attacking America on its home soil, and they're not going to mince about it with 2 mujahideen taking down a dozen casualties if it originates from the caliphate. They'll be looking to do something big, something that would make any past operation look like a scroll shoot, and the more groups that pledge allegiance, the more possible it becomes to pull off something truly epic. Yeah. The real Islamic State, if it even exists, anything that I consider to be possibly real, potentially real, no, they show no intention of attacking America. They just want to take over the Middle East under Sharia law. Anyway, remember, all of this has happened in less than a year. How more dangerous will the lines of communication and supply a year on from today? If the West completely fails to spot the emergence of the Islamic State, and then the allies who so quickly pledge allegiance to it from around the world, what else of massive significance are they going to miss next? Now, it's not from around the world that people are pledging allegiance to it, not at all. Every single instance from Europe, Australia, and America, and Canada has been completely fake. Other countries that have more of a Muslim tendency, religion-wise, I can't say. Let me finish with a quick example of the sheer motivation of the Muslim fighters the West now finds itself up against. The other day I had the opportunity to meet one charismatic fighter from an Arab country. Educated and intelligent, he told me with disgust that some of his blood brothers are serving soldiers in an Arab regime army. I talk to them once every few months on the telephone, he said. They're my blood brothers, so I speak to them and advise them and hope that they might change. If they refuse, then inshallah, I will get the chance to kill them all on the battlefield. They fight for a Taghut regime that loves America while I fight for Allah. Who is the stronger one? Of course, he doesn't mention which particular Arab regime army. Not that it would hurt to do so. I mean, it wouldn't really give away anything, you know. He's not giving away the identity of the person. So, and even if he was, big friggin' deal. Like, oh, now we can track him. Well, you can't track people anyways. I mean, you got a bunch of faces there, right? In all these videos, right? But no, you can't track them. Anyway, to finish, it was an awe-inspiring and humbling example of how the West can never win this war. How is that? Because he fights for Allah? Perhaps once there was a chance that an attack inside the West or on Western borders by the Islamic State could be averted through negotiations, but no longer. As the territory of the Islamic State crosses from one border to another like wildfire that is burning out of control, it'll be only a matter of time before the Islamic State reaches the Western world. Obama is leading a failed crusade. Of course, the West didn't completely fail to spot the emergence of the Islamic State. They created the emergence of it. But John Cantlie is a liar, and if that's not good enough for you, well, sorry, he's not a prisoner at all. And look into his family ties. He's tied to the upper echelon of British society. And the Lend Me Your Ears videos are, well, watch them discerningly. Ask yourself, does this look like a prisoner to you? Supposedly at this point, ISIS has half of Syria now. And if that's actually the case, well, then they're doing their job for the United States. It won't be long before they take out Assad. Maybe they'll do the same with Iran, but I don't know if it'll be that easy. But then they'll hit America with a false flag attack. It won't be them. And then America will have to take them out and basically take over the whole Middle East. Maybe leaving